Hi, y'all. How are you? Hopefully, you are doing well on this Monday morning, bright and early for some of you, and not so early for a few others. Let's see, my mouse was like right on my nose. Let's see. Couple of things. Patty, I owe you an email. I'm sorry. I will get back to you. But that's because I was batching and I was a blogging maniac this weekend. I took all my pictures on Saturday. I edited all the pictures. I put them in my posts, blah, 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 blah. Got them all. Got 4.5 posts done yesterday in about, what, 2 hours maybe? Three hours. Maddie took a 3 hour nap. Um, and that is because I got invited to a wine writers workshop in the hill country here, which is about 2.5 hours away. And I get to be wined and dined Wednesday, Thursday, um, without kids. Without kids. I got all my blog posts done so I can just go and have fun and um, drink wine and have they're serving like 4 course dinners each night and just get to go and have fun. So there are some perks to blogging. And other than last week, I got a potty seat in the mail. Hey, there are perks to blogging. Came with $50 gift card though. Anyway, hopefully y'all are doing well and you're working on those schedules. I had lots of talks about schedules last week and batching. Take your photos, edit your photos, set up your posts, do everything in batches. And that assumes that you've looked at your keywords and made all of your, you have your list of things that you need to get done for the week. Why are those not coming up? I hear Facebook things, but they're not coming up on my phone. So hopefully you're going and getting it all down, and then you can just get all your posts written and focus so that you have time to do the other things in your life that you got to do, like going to drink wine. Anyway, today wanted to talk about code. There are, if you know just even a little bit of code, there are some things that you can do that will make your life much easier. So I wanted to make sure that you knew these things because when I first started, like, put myself, okay, I'm going to blog. I'm going to be a professional blogger. I blogged every single day for 3 months. And then I was like, you know what? There's all this stuff. I don't want to have to keep asking somebody if they can help. I asked my husband, who works with code every day. Like, his job is to find mistakes in code. And he's like, I don't know how to do it. So I had to figure it out on my own. And I took some courses and I just played around, right? Nobody was looking at my site anyway then. So I just played around with it. It's not as intimidating as it is, as you think it is. And as long as you make a little copy, then doesn't matter if you make mistakes, right? You make a little copy and you say, okay, if I mess up, I can always put it back. So that's my first hint. Make a copy of everything before you start messing with code. Okay, so let's look around and see if any of those were from you guys or from another group. Nope, they were from another group. All right, so we will move into talking about code. Share screen. Hopefully it works today. Present to everyone. Yes. Why would I share my screen if I didn't want to present to everyone? Okay. Hopefully you can see my screen here. This site, I got some malware, so I don't know if you can see there's a little 404 up here in the corner. So if there's any issues, they're totally my issues. I had to just flat out delete a few things, but because I know the code, I could figure it out. So I haven't, and this is just one that I typically use for teaching courses. So I don't, hopefully one day it's got a good quicklunchrecipes.com. Like, it's got a good URL, but I just haven't done anything with it. Okay, WordPress dashboard. I understand not all of you are on WordPress, but code is code is code. So we will talk about that first. If you are WordPress has a visual editor and a text editor. Hopefully, no matter what platform you're on, you can see that they have those things. So visual and text. And this is where I can put my code in. I switched to this. Visual is called a WYSIWYG, which is what you see is what you get. And so what you see here is what you're going to get. And then we need to open up the kitchen sink there so we can see everything that we can do. So we don't have to know code in order to use this visual editor. So that's how most of you have gotten as far as you can, as far as you have, without knowing the code. And so because that is so simple, I'm not going to deal with that today. I'm going to deal with some of the things that you might want to add a clickable image into your sidebar, or you might want to, you know, it says no follow. Well, how do I do a no follow link, or how do I get it? My advice is that every single link that you put on your site opens in a new window, because you don't want people to leave your page to go to someplace else. You want that to open in a new tab up here. So how do you do that? Simple little code. You just add it in. Okay, so let's see. The very first thing that we're going to talk about here is I have a text link. All right. So if I start writing my code here, right, href, and that's the code, okay, equals, and then there's always a quote, HTTP, then you put the URL, playtoloearnwithsarah.com. And then the ending quote, there's always quotes around every single link that you're doing in HTML. So sometimes if you check those and you say, oh, I don't have, one little thing like that, like not having the quote there, will mean that your thing doesn't work. Okay, so my site, and then that's the words, and then I close the code. Okay, see how this started with an A and then it ends. This slash here means that it's being closed. I'm done with that link. But I put it in my visual editor. So if I preview, guess what? Guess what? It's not going to work. If I, dang it, come on. Never mind. So if this isn't going to work because it's in my visual editor, it has to be in, you know what? Let's go to the blogging bunch. I don't want to do it on my main page because I don't want to have it on my site, show up on my site by accident. All right, never mind. Go away, quick lunch recipes. You're not helpful. Leave this page. Post, add a new post. Although I wanted to show you that it's way easier. That site has an easier theme. Okay, so I have this preview, and see how it just showed up as the code because I put it in my text edit, or I put it in my visual editor instead of my text editor. So if you do this and you can't figure out, like, why is it not working? Why is it coming up as just the text? Maybe you put it in the wrong editor. So we're going to put it in the text editor, paste, and then we're going to preview it. And then it comes up as my site. See, that's what I told it in here to say, my site. And it's a clickable link. And if I click my site, then it goes to my site. All right. But see how this isn't, let's see, go back to previewing. Preview. All right, I have a plugin on my sites that's called NoFollower, and only I can see this is a link up here for PicMonkey, and you can see that it has this red circle after it. That means that I've made that no follow, which means I don't want the Google bots to go down that road. Do not go down that road. I don't want you to, you don't need to go to Amazon.com. You don't need to go to PicMonkey. You don't need to go to any of my affiliate links. So I make those all no follow. But I would want to give my site, right? These are both my sites, but I want to give link juice from one of my sites to the other site. So it has a check mark, and that means that yes, it is a follow. Now on this plugin, I can click that check or click it to uncheck it. But I can also do code, and right here, if you see in between, I can't point to the computer. If you see in between the link here, I can also put it up here, but it's okay. Usually I just put it right here. In between this link and the caret mark, I'm going to type rel equals quote no follow with no spaces and a quote. All right, so now watch that check mark will turn to a red circle. See that? So now we can see that's a no follow. So we've told the Google bots, don't follow that. If it's an affiliate link or you've got a sponsored post, then you want to make sure that you're using no follow. Those would really be the only times you want to make sure you're using no follow, but it's super easy, right? It's super hard to figure out, oh, and this plugin does not work all the time. So sometimes I tell it no follow and it doesn't do it. So, but if I put my code in here, rel equals quote no follow quote, that's all I have to do, then I know for sure that it is a no follow link. I can also, if you saw, if I click that link, then it opened in that same page. And then the reader is no longer on my Blogging Bunch site, which I don't want. I want them to stay on my Blogging Bunch site, right? I want that to open in a new tab so that they still have a tab open for my Blogging Bunch site. I don't want them to leave that. So if you see on the thing, make a link open in a new page. So right after this no follow, I just add a little space and I say target equals quote underscore there, target equals blank, quote, end quote. Okay, notice they all have quotes around what it is you want them to do. And now, preview, it is a no follow link that opens in a new tab. So there we've opened in a new tab, but my Blogging Bunch is still open. Okay, these are probably the code that I use the most. Okay, I want you to keep those someplace where you can just copy and paste this stuff. Copy and paste it or memorize it, right? So that you can easily, always, any link should have target equals blank. Okay, any link on your site. Now, obviously, I could do this. Now, see how it looks when I'm back in the visual editor? Because I can tell it to do that, right? So when I highlight it and insert my link, I can just check this box, open link in new window, and it will put that target equals blank in it. But sometimes I forget, sometimes I'm doing something, or sometimes I'm in my widget where I have the little boxes on the side here, right? And I want those to open in a new window, but I don't want, but I don't have this editor to help me with that. So that's opened in a new window. How did I do that? And that is where we were going. We'll go in a minute. Let's check. Nope, nobody talking to me today. Am I talking to myself again? Oh, well, I know somebody will catch up with me. Wait a minute. I saw Patty was online. No? Must have had to work. Okay, close. What if I want to insert a video? which you definitely should do. You definitely can just go to YouTube and choose a video to insert. This is one of the Hangouts. We have all those Hangouts on the Blogging Bunch page, and how to do a roundup post. So I want to put this into my post here. Okay, how do I do that? Well, I go and I click share and I click embed. Now you can see this is highlighting the whole code that I need to embed the video. It's at 560 across by 350. Now I know that my site is 680 across. So 560 is going to be a little smaller than what I want it to be. So I'm going to click here, video size, and I'm going to see, oh, look, 640 is pretty close. Oh, 640 is pretty close, so I can go ahead and just do that. Let's see. Oh, come on, Patty, you can do it. April's here too. Patty's here. All right. So see, I just could change the size here, and I go back up and I just copy this, copy it, and other things. I should have put that on the list, but you need to be using the keys. Control C, I copied it, right? Control A, let's see. Control A is going to get me select all. Control C is going to copy it, right? And then I take it to my post and I do Control V to put it in. All right, so that you're using those commands. Control A, select all. Control C, copy. Control V, paste. All right, so again, I accidentally put it into my visual editor. Let's see what happens. It is YouTube. It may just go ahead and do it. Nope. I put it in my visual editor. If you put code into your visual editor, it just comes back with code. So I'm going to highlight it all, and I'm going to Control X to get it to go away. I'm going to go back to my text. Now, if you look here, it put this ampersand NBSP semicolon, and that is a space. And sometimes that's really helpful. Like you can't get the spacing quite right. So putting this ampersand NBSP semicolon in is sometimes how I force it to give me a space when I can't get the visual editor to give me a space. But you can usually get that to come up and then just copy and paste it wherever you want. All right, Control V. I've got my code for my code for my video. So let's preview again because I want to show you something. All right, and look at that. There's my code for my video. Now, if it was smaller, since I did 640, you can see it's a little off to the side. I could center it. And the centering code, center something, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things down. And I just use the Shift caret, center, Shift. Okay, so I tell it before my code that I want it to center it. But then if you see, look, it says iframe there, and then it says close iframe. Okay, so we want to, if you open something, you have to close it in code. A, we opened, A, we closed. Center, we opened. Now we need to caret slash center to close the center. Okay, now let's preview it and see if it did anything. Since it was smaller. Well, you can see it's a little bit more, it was kind of over like to here, so it's a little centered on the site now. It's over a little bit. Okay, so it's centered it. Now, the issue that I have, so if I were to go back to my visual editor, right, because I like to write in my visual editor because it's much easier. If I go back to my visual editor, then I have to hit enter to get down. But look at this, it's still centering things. That is not what I wanted to do. And I can't, no matter if I hit the left, it will still stay centered. So my two fixes for that, my two workarounds for that are, I don't put this center in until I've typed something after it. Or let's see if we can copy this and put it down here. Paste. Now it let me go back, okay? So that tells, this little ampersand thing tells it, okay, space it and move on to the next thing. Also, sometimes I'll just go ahead and start typing in the text editor, like this video, blah, blah, blah. And then when I go back to my visual editor, it's over. And here, remember, we put in that ampersand thing to tell it to give it a space. So then we just take it out and it goes back up and it's regular. So there are a few, right? If you're having troubles with something, it won't center, or it won't space the way you want it to do, you can check the text and see if this little ampersand thing has been put in, right? There's too many of these, they're spaced too far apart. Some of those things are difficult and make things a lot harder for you. Okay, I missed the actual code for adding a video. You just go to YouTube, click embed, find the code, and plug her in. There she is. Pretty easy. And then I just centered it because I wanted it to center. Because I like everything centered. So, and then you just go ahead and type whatever it is that you wanted to do. Now also visual. Let's see, let's say that I wanted to do a round up posts. I wanted to do, we've talked about maybe H1, H2, H3. What are those? If you look up here, it says paragraph. So that's going to be whatever normal text you have for your site. But up here, it says heading 1. Heading 1 is your H1 tag. So if you ever hear anything about an H1 tag, that's the title of your post is an H1. Okay, so you shouldn't ever really have to do anything with H1 at all because it's already set that the title of your post is an H1 tag. Google wants to see that you have your keywords in those H1 tags. Okay, so you're fine. You don't really have to worry about it. Now, you also want to see, Google wants to see that you're using H2 also, right? So H2 makes it just a slight bit smaller. All right, so I do that for my, to break up text, right? For my keywords, that's the title. There it is. See how it's roundup posts. So it's a little bit bigger, it's bolder, depending on how you have it set. And here's the next words, but you can see that it's a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder. I've got my keywords in it. And so that's an H2. And if we go to text here, you can see it's got the caret H2 caret roundup posts caret slash, so it's closing the H2, so it's telling it only do these words in H2, don't do any of the other words in H2, just do the other ones regular. So that's when you see, that's the code. But if you're using a visual editor, then that's the WYSIWYG, where what you see is what you get. So you just use these headings, and on our blog post, the anatomy of the blog post, right? The template, then you should have H2s with your headlines. H3, I sometimes will do an H3. Sometimes at the bottom, I'll say like, looking for more social media posts, right? Click here. And then I will link that to my social media page. Hi, if I could spell. Social media. And let's see, there's the page. Link it to my social media page, and then I make it an H3, and I center it at the bottom right before my signature, so that people, right, that's an internal link, which I want you to have internal links. That's telling Google, like, my social media page, that's a big page on my site. And so here it is. See how it's, and then I have this one, I have H3 set to be, to look to be a little bit smaller. See how they're just a little bit smaller than the H2 tag. And then because it's a link and the links on my site are set, on this site are set in purple, then I made it's set for purple. So if I click on that, it opens in a new page because I checked that box. And then it takes you to the social media page. And it also tells Google, right? It's a link, and it tells Google that that's an important page. And I've got the keyword for that page, social media posts, which I should probably just have that keyword highlighted or linked, right? I should just have social media posts linked or social media linked. But anyway, so that's how I put that at the bottom. I use the H3 so that it stands out a little bit, but it's not in people's faces. Okay, so title tags, H3, I don't typically use 4, 5, 6. Look at that, there's no point. It's smaller than paragraph. H1 you don't have to use because it's already set for you. H2s you use, H3 you might, but H2 are what you typically use. All right, we are going to trash this post, and we're going to go into the editor, which is where I tell you never to go. Never play in the editor. But guess what? Today, I want you to play in the editor. But I want you to do something first. All right. Oh, no, wait. Let's go to widgets first. This was what I was telling you about, was that I wanted you to, if you were making a clickable link, this is where you would want to put a click, right? You want a clickable link in your sidebar. You want one of these to be an image. You've made this image. You've uploaded this image to your media library. Let's open this here. Okay, then I have my sidebar. I've pulled a text box. Drag a text box into your sidebar, and then this box is open. Now, this is a text box, right? Text. So that's your text editor, not a WYSIWYG editor, not a what you see is what you get kind of thing. So you've got to know code in order to do that. And so that's where this create a clickable link that opens in a new window. 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth one down. All right. I should have had A, and this one has the target equals blank in the middle, in the beginning. All right, which is fine. It can go in between the href, the A and the href. That's fine. Equals, and then I'm going to put the link for where I want it to go. So let's say I want a link to my social media page. I'm just creating a links down the side that go to my pages. So I've got my quote here, and then I need an ending quote there, and the link URL, which is what I have in your on your page. It says link URL here. So the page that you want the image to go to goes there. And then I have my closing caret. And now I need my caret for my image. All right. And it says IMG image SRC source, image source equals, and now you need the URL, quote, you need the URL for the image source. So I go into my media library, and I want to use this picture, let's say, and look here, each one has an image link. Okay, even if you host them on Flickr, there will be a URL that you can take. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you're hosting your pictures, there is a URL for that image if it is online. So I'm going to Control A to select all of that, and I'm going to Control C to copy it. And I'm going to go back to my widget here, and I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to finish with my quote, right? I need my quote, and I need my closing caret for that. Now, I opened an A up here, so now I have to close that A again. All right, I have my target equals blank. I may want, if this goes to another site or this is an affiliate link, then right after this first link where I want it to go, I could put rel equals no follow, so that I don't want Google to follow that link. I don't want them to think that I am promoting that page. If it is, I mean, it's a page within my site. Yes. But if it is an affiliate link, then I don't want them to promote that page. So it's going to look crazy. But anyway, this is that code right there is going to get you a clickable, any clickable image that you make. Now, my sidebar, I typically make things 350 or 300, I'm sorry, 300 pixels wide. So when you're in PicMonkey, all right, you go to PicMonkey, you go to Design, Custom, and the first one is always wide. So I go 300 pixels wide by 250 tall, and that makes it almost a square. So that would be one of these, right? Well, these are all links that I took from somebody else. But so this one, I wanted it to be just kind of a little button. Or if you look on my mommy blog page, I have made, so I have my home, my keywords, activities for kids, printables, kid-friendly recipes. Those are what are in my menu bar, right? That's what people know when they come to my site. They say, oh, she blogs about activities for kids, printables, and kid-friendly recipes. But if you go down the side, I put some of my categories. I just made little images here in PicMonkey, designed them, little images in PicMonkey, and I put my categories down the side. Holidays, muffin recipes, and then this is my top pin, and this is my second pin on Pinterest. So I want people to go to those things, right? Because they're really popular on Pinterest. And this is affiliate link, and this is affiliate link. But so you can also just make these little categories. If you have other categories that you want people to do, like I don't have drop down menus because people then don't go to the main page. I have these as category pages. And then I was able to put a little description on my category page, and then it just updates my latest links. You can also do, like we talked about on the Blogging Bunch here, where I have these are actual pages, right? Content, social media, traffic, list building, monetization. These are all pages. And then when you go, I have them separated because I didn't, on this one, it doesn't matter. Activities for kids, right? You're just going to be going through to see what I have. It doesn't matter. I don't have them sortable. Whereas actually this kid-friendly recipes, this theme sorts them for me. So I did on one of them. I got lucky on this one. Dinners, right? This page, it sorted them for me. But I didn't have it. Where was I? I couldn't do it for each of these pages. So I had to make my own page like we talked about. And then I have basics, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, whatever. So making your pages, you could do those pages in the sidebar, even if you didn't have them, if they were your categories, not your main keywords, but printables, right? Printables could be holidays, or if I had lots of Easter printables and Easter was coming, then I would make a little button here that says Easter printables or Mother's Day printables or Christmas printables, right? So I would change these buttons out with the holidays. Maybe instead of just having holidays, I should have one for the specific holiday that's coming, and maybe that would get more clicks. That's a good thought. Maybe I should try that. Most people are going to just ignore your sidebar. That's why it's not worthwhile to really do too many. I have gotten a few people sign up for this slow cooking one, so I kept it there. And I just added this yesterday, so we'll see. But most people just ignore the sidebar, so it doesn't really, putting Amazon links or codes or things in there, not going to be helpful at all, in my experience. All right, so widgets, that's how you get those clickable images. You can make them yourself, upload them to your media file, and hook those babies up. And now you can have your own category links down the side that look a little more like your site. All right, No, we want to delete this. Now we're going into the editor. 10:30. Okay. Editor. So on WordPress, appearance editor. So here's my theme. This is my editor. This is going to change. If I make erase one little thing, do one little thing, then this is going to change how my site works, which is why I didn't want to practice on this on my main sites, but whatever. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put my cursor up here at the very beginning, and I'm going to hit Control A. This is when these come in handy. Control A, and it's going to select everything. The 80 pages or whatever of code that are on here, it's going to select everything. And then I'm going to hit Control C, and it's going to copy everything. And then I'm going to open a notepad, Word document, whatever, and I'm going to hit Control V, and I'm going to paste everything in there because I don't want to mess it. I don't want to lose it, right? If I mess up, I want to have a copy of what I had before that I can go back to, okay? This is a really important step. Please don't skip that. Okay. So let's look here. This theme is a little bit different. This is a more modern theme. You can see the other day, last night, April asked if we were going to talk about CSS. And you can see that this is called a style sheet for the Foodie Child theme, style sheet, and style.css. Okay, just the kind of code that makes it the design. So we were talking about HTML, now we're talking about CSS. All right. So this is a little bit different. Oh, and this is HTML. This has some HTML5, which is why it's a little bit different. They in HTML5, sometimes they talk about, instead of pixels, they talk about, see how it says font size 16 pixels, font size 1.5 rem. They talk about those. And if your theme does that, pixels are way easier, at least because that's how I learned and that's how I have in my head. I know how big 16 pixels is a good size for reading online. Right? Your Word document, you put it into 16, and that's what it means, okay, pixels. That means that you're going to be able to read it online. It's going to be big enough font. Whereas if it was 11, which some of them come very small, and that's way too hard to be able to see. Just trying to think. All but my main sites got the malware. So I am trying to think if there's one that I can edit without showing you or without doing all this. Oh, well. Okay, so you can see like they talk about percentages in this HTML5 and it's just a little bit funky. So if you see any of that, that's just HTML5 and you just have to finagle it just a little bit. But the pixels are the typical one and most of them have that. Okay, wait a minute. Questions? REM is weight, right? Well, I think it's the size. I don't know a ton about that, but that's the font weight here. A font weight, so here they have 300, whereas if it were just a normal and not this HTML5, the font weight would be like bold, right? So it's not 300 is going to make it be a little bit lighter, whereas if I did it to 500, then it might be a little bit darker, or 700, then it's going to be a little bit bolder. Let's see. Font weight. So here's strong, right? Font weight is 700. So the REM is just another, it's another measurement. I thought it was just EM. I don't remember the R, but it's been a while since I've learned about HTML5. This new theme that I have is HTML5. So I do mess with it. See, I do mess with it, but I don't mess with it a ton. Maybe that's my problem. I don't like the font here, and maybe, so you can see, look, body. This is the body of my posts. Visit site. This is the body of the post here, and it tells me what everything is going to, what my site, the font that my site is using, and it's called Railway. And then backup, these are the backup ones. If you see a number of these, this is if somebody doesn't have a Railway installed on their site. Now, this is a problem with computers, right? People are reading on different computers, and if they don't have it installed on their computer and you've chosen some funky one, then these are the backup fonts that it's going to use. Nope, nope, nope. So the backup fonts that it's going to use. Now this is my main one here, Railway, and see in this one, they add all this gobbledygook into HTML5. But your best choice, your best chance with changing your font is to use a Google font, okay? So google.com/fonts. Choose one of these Google fonts, and then that will be loaded first. If you want to change your font, you can also, there's a Google Fonts plugin, but this gets loaded first. And see how your font, it's the very first thing here. It's the fonts get loaded first, and this will, if you choose a Google font and not just some random one, then Google will load that first, and no matter what computer people are reading it on, they will see the that font where they don't need, right? So if they don't have Railway installed, then they'll see it in Helvetica. If they don't have Helvetica, then they see it in Arial Sans Serif. So now font size, and it's 16 pixels. So that is, this size is 16 pixels. Okay, let's find, did I open a post here? Okay, I could change that to make it bigger or smaller. Okay, this is 16 pixels. I feel that is a good size for people to be able to read. I also see how I have this line spacing here. That's going to tell the letter spacing. Line height 1.65. So the REM here, the font size is 1.5. Now again, with the REM, I just kind of play with it, but it's bigger than the font. So you want it to be a little bit bigger than the font so that you can see, so that they're separated, and there's enough white space that people can actually read. You can't read online when it's all bunched together, so you need it to be big enough that people can see it. You need to have your, my goodness, what are all of these? Should our themes be HTML5, or is it just a preference? I don't think mine is. Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about it if it's not. It's not. It's one of those things I think they're trying. I'm not sure if it's going over. This one is a new theme, and so it is in HTML5. Whereas, like, this is the foodie. I don't remember if foodie was in that before, but I had like the lifestyle theme before, and it was not in HTML5, and it works just fine. So if it isn't this HTML5, which is REMs, then you just kind of play with it a little bit, right? Whereas the 16 pixels, I know from doing all these Word documents, right, what 16 is. And if I think it's too small, or I think I can't read it, then I can go ahead and adjust the size, or if it's too big or whatever. I also gave you, where is it? At the very bottom one is color codes, and you can go and choose this color code, HTML-color-info. Okay, so where's our thing here? You can see the background. Okay, so it says the body of our post, and that's this, this section in here, the body of my posts. Hold on, post, body of my post, and I have it set to be FFF. Typically the color codes are 6. See how there's 6 numbers here? pound, they always have a pound in front of them, and then they're typically 6 numbers. If they're white, is all F, 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 F. You don't have to write that. You just have to do 3 because you don't have to do 6 Fs. Or black would be 0, 0, 0. Okay. So you can go through and see if I want to change my background of my posts. Please don't do it. Please make sure it's white. But anyway, I've argued with people like designing their sites and they're like, I want it to be this color. I'm like, no, it's not readable. Please make sure it's, if you're doing just the body of your post, it's FFF and that it's some, I don't recommend doing 0, 0, 0, 0 for the color of your font. I think it's just it's too hard to read. I think it needs to be just slightly off. So here's our HTML color code thing, HTML color picker. And this, so FFFFF is white. And if I go down here into the corner, I didn't get cornered enough. I didn't get the corner enough. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 is as black as you can get. Okay. So I usually go up a little bit, right? 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5 is not as black. And it doesn't matter. 0, 3, 0, 3, 0. Yeah, I mean, they're all like just a hair off. So it doesn't, this one I did 0, 3, 0, 3, 0, 3. The other ones are probably 0, 5. It doesn't really matter. So I make sure that the body of my text is always a little bit lighter than dark, dark black. Okay. You can choose your font there with your Google Fonts. Now you've got your button. Okay. No, let's not do that one. So what I really wanted you, I want you to be able to do is that I want you to be able to change the color codes. All right. So a hover. So when somebody goes to like here's a link and what color is that? Well, then I just highlight it, Control C, I copy it, I go over here, insert your color, paste, and it's some random orange color that this font comes in. Okay. Well, no, that doesn't match anything on my site. So then I could pick another color, right? Most of my colors are purple. I should actually like look and see. I can do a darker purple. I can just click around and see how it tells me the color code. I can change the color code just by clicking around and taking this bottom one. Okay, here's my initial one. That's what it was. Didn't like that one, so I'm going to change the color code and I'm going to hit Control C and copy this bottom one. I'm going to go back over here into my editor and see it's highlighted, so I can just hit Control V and it will paste it because it's all highlighted and it pastes in that new color code. So now any of my links would be a different color. Hover. So when somebody hovers over a link, do I have any links in this one? When somebody hovers over a link, sometimes it changes colors. I don't think I have, I think I have all my colors set to the same one. Strong. So that's a bold. How dark bold, right? Sometimes like this one, some of it wasn't dark enough, like the bolding. See how it's kind of really light? This theme was really light. So I had to change some of those things. Like the font weight wasn't bold enough there. Bold wasn't bold enough. So I made it bolder. You could go up. Headings. This is another one that I tend to change sometimes. So here's our headings: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Okay. What color do I want them to be? Well, 333, pretty sure that's just black, but we're going to go and we're going to check it. Paste. Oh, it's white. Okay. So why would my headings be white? That's just weird. Maybe that's a background color. And then what font is it in? Open Sans. And if I wanted to change it so that it matched the rest of my site, like whatever it was earlier, Railway or something, I could change that. Font weight, 300. So that tells you it's not really bold. And I would want to change it to being bolder if that's my, if that's what I wanted. Okay, where it starts, I want all of my fonts, all of those to be bolder. Although we looked at it before and it was pretty bold. Those are all pretty bold, so I'm not going to mess with them. Letter spacing. So here's my H1s. And here it tells me exactly what each one, the size it's going to be. H1s are going to be 22 pixels high. H2s should be a little bit smaller, so I have those at 20 pixels. H3 are 18. H4, 16. H5, so I went down by 2 here in each of them. So headings are one thing that you can definitely mess with. Where was I going? Let's see if I can get into this one. I just can't preview it for you, but I can at least show you. What was it? Login? And this is another one of those joys of, really? Just log me in, please. Why you need to know some code? Because all of my sites got hacked. Like this site here was sending out emails to people, and my host was like, put me on lockdown. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is going to cost me $1 bazillion to get somebody to figure it out. And all I did was go through and reinstall my WordPress, right? They went through and none of these sites worked. None of them. They said, oh, we cleaned everything. None of them worked. And then I went through and reinstalled WordPress, which maybe I just need to do again on this one after. And then it happened again. So I had to go through and do it again. But sorry, I'm talking really fast. I have to leave in 10 minutes. All right, so here's another one. This is just your plain text. See, colors. It tells you the font size is 13. I don't like it being that small, so I would probably raise it. I can go through this. This tells lists. We're not going to worry about that right now. Hyperlinks. All right. What color do you want your links to be? Sometimes, right, I want my links to be purple. So I went to the HTML color code and I picked a purple. And then in visited links, I changed it to purple. Not on this site, but you can change it to purple, whatever you want. Body, the background color, F. The wrap. I think you can get to the main site and I can tell you. Okay, so this here with this dark line around the outside, that's the wrap. And if I don't want, see, I have that set as 5 pixels. So that's a pretty thick line where I could change it to just 1 and it would be a much thinner line. Or I could change it to purple and it would be a purple line, right? So it says that it's 5 pixels, a solid line, not a dashed line, and it's black. Okay. Oh, there was one thing I want to talk about. I know I'm way over everybody's head. Here's my header. It tells me the width of my header here. Width. My header is 1030 pixels by 150 high. Okay, so that's this area here. So if I wanted to make my own header, I just go to Photoshop or to PicMonkey or Photoshop custom, and I would enter in 1030 by 150. There it is. I have the space. I could design my own header and just go in and upload it. Wherever header is. Titles, font families, images, image width, navigation, header right, nope. So the next thing I typically, primary navigation. This one I struggle with a lot, I can tell you, because you have to change their links. Okay, primary navigation, that's this. And see how they're all over to the left? I don't like that. They should be centered. And that is hard to do. And what color are the links here? Well, those should not be black. I don't want them to be black. I want them to be cute and pretty, right? So I would pick a random color here. And I would go and put it in, paste. And I want to see how they're kind of small. I want them to be a little bit bigger. So maybe I would make them 18 pixels high. And now they're all over to the side here, and I don't like that but let's update this file and see if it works first. Not gonna work, are you? You're just gonna be difficult. Okay. Let's see if it did anything. Okay. Well, so this should, if my site hadn't been infected, it should make those bigger. And in order to get those to scoot over, where did that go? Primary navigation. I could also put in some padding. So I'm going to steal this here, copy, and I'm going to put some, I can put some padding into my navigation. Now, LI, that's list, LI. So that's right. See how they have a list there? They've got links down there. But my navigation, I could add in some padding. And this padding is always, this first number is the top. There should be, if there were 3 here, top, it goes top like a clock, right? Think about the clock. You've got the top, right, bottom, left. So these numbers always go into top, right, bottom, left. Now there's only 3 here, which means, so that's top, right, left, and bottom, I think. I wish this worked so that I could do a better job, or we could just add one in here. Okay, so there's 4. Top, right, bottom, left. And this tells you, and I have some sites where in order to get that, this tells you top, right? What's the space between this word and this top line? Right, what's the space between the words on the right? Bottom, the space between this, and left, the space between on the left side of the words. Okay, so I want, see how they all have the same space there? If I wanted that to be bigger, then I could just increase this. Now again, play with it, okay? You're not going to break your site. You can play with the padding and try to get the words centered a little bit better. Try to get them a little bit bigger, just as long as you have this copy that you can go back to, okay? Go back to the copy. And if you're looking, so primary navigation, well, on this site, I know that this theme has 2 levels of navigation. This should actually be at the top, above the header. This one should have one above the header and one below the header. Okay, so this top one is called the primary navigation. This bottom one is called secondary navigation. If your site has 2 navigation bars. So let's say I wanted to change the bottom one, and I don't want to scroll through all of this. I hit Control F, and this little box at the top comes up, and it will search. Okay, so I type in sec, it searched for secondary navigation, and now I can change these. Oh, see, maybe I changed the top one. Change these, border top, right? So border bottom, that's these. I've got a line. If you want a line, that's the border. I could make it a thicker line, right? I have it at 1 pixel here. A black line, border top, 1 pixel. So that's this line here. My font family, what font is it in, and the font size, and the line height. Make sure that that's always equal to or greater than whatever your font size is. And my padding could go in here. And let's see, let's do something crazy here. 25. Just do 25 all the way around. And this needs to have that semicolon after it. So if it's got 25 all the way around, update file. Will you update? Ah, okay, see? I did 25 all the way around here. Well, no, that doesn't look right. So I need to go through and mess with my padding a little more. Top, now the right, the top, the top, that's too much on the top and bottom. So I don't want the top and bottom. So maybe I want to go back to having 10 pixels on the top. The right and the left need to be, see, it's just trial and error. and see how I got it to go a little bit less on the top, and I'm starting to get it to move over. I got the font a little bit bigger. I'm just playing with it. I'm not doing anything massive. I've just looked for the navigation bar and I'm just playing with it a little bit, okay? And if you don't like it, you just go back to your copy. Okay. Have I, these are bolding, blah, 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 blah. No, nothing here. Okay. That's probably because I lost y'all, right? I know this is a lot, but I need you need to know just a little bit and that it's okay to play, right? Like as long as you have that copy of your theme, it's okay to play, and it's okay to take a little bit and try and figure those things out, okay? You can make it look the way you want, and you don't have to wait for your husband or your friend to help you out. You can do it on your own. Just do little bitty changes, make a copy, find that one thing, start with the nav bar, and get those things look, I could make these go, let's go 55, update file. Okay. Didn't move too much. So I just keep working and keep working and keep working it and moving it, moving it, and moving it. Come on, you should have moved a little bit more than that. No. So just look through, just try, check out, keep this paper next to you if you need it, and check out your make any little changes. Just go and try this HTML color code and pick a different color for your links or for your font, right? And see what you can do. It is something that you have to kind of play with a little bit in order to become familiar with. Like if this is it, you're going to be like, oh my God, Sarah, you're crazy. And we have no idea what you're talking about. And we don't want to do this. Then you won't ever figure it out. But if you just try a little bit, or you be like, it's 3 a.m. and you decide that you want a hot pink font. Please don't do that either. Because nobody can read hot pink on the web. But anyway, right? Like try it out, check it out, try things out. Sorry, I have a doctor's appointment in 30 minutes downtown and I got to run. But watch this a couple of times, play around, and hopefully you're all still going to stick with me. And I'll talk to you all next week. Have a great day.